Hi, my name is Chef Charleen Badman, and I'm the chef and co-owner of F&B Restaurant in Scottsdale, Arizona. Today I'm going to show you about the fava bean, one of my favorite things to cook. We're going to be making a fava bean crostini. The first thing I want to do, though, is wash my hands. I want to make sure I have clean hands because a lot of this recipe involves using our hands. Okay, let's get started with our recipe. This is the pod of the fava bean, and the fava bean is inside. And I'm going to start to pop the beans out. And if you open up the pod, it's really interesting to see this like fuzzy feeling that you have inside the pod. You could also just open it up from the top and take them out that way. So this is the first step. I've taken them out of this first casing that they're covered in, the first part of this pod, and now I have the bean. Because this is what you're going to plant as well. This is the dried version. And I have a few different varieties of this bean at this stage dried, and these can be planted. So next we're going to take our fava beans and we're going to blanch them. First of all, a couple of things to remember. We're using a stove and eventually we're going to be using a knife. So have an adult that's able to help you with supervising. Plus having somebody else to cook with is really a lot of fun. I have some boiling water. And just another thing to note, I have the handle sticking away out from the stove. Keep in mind that this probably is hot. I'm going to use a hot pad and I'm going to turn the handle away so that somebody may be walking by. I have a very small kitchen. I keep these things in mind. Somebody may be walking by, could tap it, and it's full of hot water, and that could make a mess and really cause an accident that we don't want to happen with boiling water. I'm going to add the fava beans, and I'm looking to cook them for about 2 minutes. Okay, so at this point, we've had 2 minutes of cooking. We've brought our fava beans back to a boil. We're taking them off. We're going to turn off our heat, and we're going to drain them. And I want to go ahead and do what's called shocking. I'm going to take my ice water, my fava beans that have just been blanched. Again, do what's called shocking. So I'm adding these to the ice water, and that's stopping the cooking process. We're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. Before we go any further, let's go to the garden and see how we're going to plant our fava beans.
Thanks, Chef Char. So glad to be with you today. Hi, my name is Emily Heller. I'm a local farmer. The name of my farm is Bene Vivendo. I grow in Chandler and in Tempe. And Bene Vivendo means the good life. I grow veggies, herbs, and flowers, and it's really my hope that I bring some of my good that I've grown to you and you can enjoy it. Today, we are planting a very special type of bean. There are beans that like hot weather and beans that like cooler weather. Today, we're going to be planting one of the cooler weather beans, and it's called fava beans. So one of the techniques that I do now every time I grow beans, so if you soak the beans before you plant them, just overnight is really all you need. Put them in a little container with some clean water, and then they will absorb water to help them break dormancy. Remember, a seed is sleeping, and to soften the outer structures of a seed will help that baby plant that's sleeping, that's inside of here, it'll help it to wake up. First thing I think we need to do is to open up the soil so that there's plenty of room for the beans to grow. And I'm using my little short-handled spade shovel here to make like a little ditch down into the soil, about maybe 4 inches deep. So with a seed of this size, you are going to need to plant at least twice the length of this size. So this is about 1 inch. This means that you're going to need to put it in the soil at least, I would say, about 2 to 3 inches down. And so fava beans are planted about 2 to 3 inches apart. And so we have to make sure that this bean is going to be completely buried in the ground, but not too deep. Place it with good contact with the soil. In other words, we're not just throwing them in randomly, we're actually placing the seeds in. And so here we have our seeds in the row, and now using the same shovel, bring the soil right over. And remember I said seed to soil contact? This is how you do that. You can use a shovel, but I really prefer using my hand or a small tool. This is my archaeological tool, and it works great to cover seeds with soil. Press down for that good contact. Of course, you can use your hand, or if you like, your fist. That works really well too. So good contact, and then bring some looser soil over the top of that. And now for the water. You know, beans are one of the crops that have been grown here in the Sonoran Desert of Arizona for thousands and thousands of years. Our soil can produce wonderful, delicious beans, and I hope you enjoy growing beans and eating them. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you for showing us that. Hopefully your beans grow well. Okay, because we're making a crostini, it's going to sit on a little piece of bread. We call it, also called a bruschetta. I've got a nice little baguette. I'm going to use what's called a serrated edge knife. Really important when cutting bread. I'm going to cut these into slices. I'm keeping those fingers back. I'm doing the claw, keeping back that thumb, and I'm just sawing with the serrated edge. Next, we have our slices of baguette. I'd like to give them a little bit of toastiness just to have a little bit of different texture. So I'm going to take a saute pan. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil, and we can start toasting our bread. Put one right in the middle. Kind of looks like a flower. Keep an eye on it, but look at that toastiness. Oh yes, this is really great. Beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and take them out from the pan. We're going to let them cool. At this point, our fava beans have been shocked and they're cool and they're ready to pop. I'm going to pour off the ice water. This is really the part I love this part. So you just take your fingernail, thumbnail, you're going to open up a little pocket where that skin comes off. You're going to push with your other two fingers and push the fava bean out. It doesn't matter which end you do. Just a small little opening and push from the other side. Once I have all of the beans peeled, I'm just going to kind of go through them a little bit. I notice this one is a little bit on the yellow side. I'm going to discard that one. Probably going to be on the bitter side, maybe a little older and starchy. Just want to make sure they're all nice and green, beautiful, vibrant. I have a little bit of ricotta cheese. I'm going to take a lemon that I've washed and a microplane. Love this thing, probably one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. And I'm going to just give it a few little swipes to take off a little bit of that peel. I like to do it this way where I'm able to actually watch the peel coming up. I'm going to add this to the ricotta. Just use my lemon to tap it. And then a little bit of salt and pepper. And mix our ricotta. That's ready to go. I'm going to take my fava beans, peeled, ready to go. I'm going to take that lemon that I was zesting, get the juices released, giving it a couple rolls, cut it in half, give it a squeeze over the top of my fava beans, a little bit of salt, and today I want to use some fresh mint. I'm just going to tear it. I love tearing it. I love the way my hands smell afterwards. And then I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, maybe about a tablespoon in there. So from here, just taking a small amount of black peppercorns, and I'm going to make a little bit of cracked pepper. You're going to use the bottom half of your saute pan and a little bit of pressure. Got them all broken. There isn't any whole ones. Our toast have cooled down. Definitely easy to touch. I'm going to add a little bit of ricotta, a few fava beans, a little bit of black pepper, and you're ready to go. Now comes the best part. We get to try these, and I know they're going to be delicious. Thank you so much for watching Chef in the Garden, and I can't wait to cook with you.